All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started here with week 5 of the North American Corporate Chess League. I was just streaming about an hour ago, so we managed to fuel up and be ready to go. Corporate Chess League always leads to some great chess, so I'm super excited to be back for it and be doing commentary for this week. Um, you have standings up there. I reviewed it at the end of last week, but as we go into this week, always want to make sure we kind of remember where the teams are at, where the players are at as we head into the games today. So, as a reminder, in first place we have Symmetra, who I mean, Stuart Copen and Bellows have been playing some excellent chess, and not too surprising with how well they've been playing to see them at the top with 39 points. In second place, we have Google. Notice pretty far behind actually, uh, 5.5 points, which could could be changed very quickly, very easily with just a few good rounds, but still a Symmetra with a good lead. But Google, you will notice, does not have title players. So them being in second is an absolute fantastic result and very good to see it from them. In third place, we have Gene Street, the last season victors, led by FIDE Master Jacob Irvine, who was the individual prize winner last season, also on 33.5. So we could see some excellent things from them. Andoril, Andoril, also on 33.5, led by FIDE Master Roland Fang. So you as you should already be able to tell, 33.5 is the score. Those teams, everyone with things on the line fighting for individual prizes as well as team. And then IBM on 33. Now, I do want to scroll down a little bit just to see, or just kind of show, should say, how close it is on 33 as well as Ernst& and Young. 32.5 Capital One, on 32.5 Lyft, on 32 Meta. So Symmetra currently, really topping the standings, is out there doing quite well. But it is a close race. Now, also as a reminder, the final week 7, will be a knockout between the top 8 teams. So lots to play for. Even though Symmetra looks to be running away with it right now, it's not over. It's actually far from over as teams can make it into that final week, and then with some good results there, kind of take over. Now let's go to the individual standings as we have the game starting in 5 minutes. Pairing should be up soon. Now, it's a good thing we came to the individual standings when we did, as that's actually a big thing right there. Stuart Copen, at least missing the first game, he'll be taking a half point bye. Maybe he'll miss the full week. Some players have but just been taking like a 1 round bye and then still playing. So Stu Copen, the individual leader, going to be getting some half point buys, maybe just for this round, but possibly for this entire week. The rest of the players looks like they're here to play. So Bellows in second. Griffith really showing up for Lyft. We saw them there as one of the teams that was really in that tight 32 to 33, or sorry, 32 to 34 point group. And I mean, that he's doing great things for his team on 9.5. And honestly, with Stuart Copen taking some buys, that means he has a chance to be to catch up or be the leader this week. Although Bellows will have a few things to say about that. Baradze, also for Symmetra, doing quite well, 9 points. Roland Fang. Richard Chen. Now, Databricks we didn't see up at the top. I have to imagine they're close in points, but that is a big point group. We've seen quite a few of these people, but really pay attention to, Quentin Moore. I don't think we saw on the team standings. So some of these players are really showing up. And since the team standings go off the top four players, this is a big deal. One player being up here could very well keep some of these teams in striking distance throughout. So expect to see some very, very good things this week. Let me see if pairings are up. It looks like they are. So let's go there. First round, we have Yuri Volvovsky and Vladimir Belos. Volvovsky had a great week last week, taking down one of our title players. Uh, Off the top of my head, I'm struggling to remember who. I want to say it was Yannick from Symmetra, but I could be remembering incorrectly. So that's a huge pairing right there. Yuri Vovovsky, not titled supposedly, but an absolute beast. We have Baradze and Griffith. Again, this will be a huge, I mean, because it's not just about the team prizes now. It's really about those individual prizes that makes this week and next week such a big deal for all these players. They want to carry their team as well as carry themselves to some some prizes. So really, really big bearing. Of course, I will be kind of focusing again on the top three boards. There's so much action happening just between the top three boards alone, as the time control is 10 minutes with a 2 second increment. We have to focus there. But yeah, if anyone has any specific requests of games, I can definitely keep an eye out for it. Otherwise, I expect that we'll see just some great chess as we go. So I do have the games pulled up, and we should be very close to action here. Looks like Volvovsky is ready to go. Belos, maybe not checked in or signed in quite yet, so he has a couple of minutes to do so. Yeah, so the companies that you see these players at are companies that they work for. Not corporations that just fund them. So yeah, you I mean it's kind of an interesting list. Like you could definitely go look through some of these corporations and just be like, wow, like I had no idea these corporations had so many title players, and wow, look, they got a few GMs working there, and wow, look, like some other really strong players working here. One of the parts that I say every week, and I will say continually every week, that is so cool about an event like this is seeing, I mean, I can't say like all these players coming through the woodworks, but a little bit coming through the woodwork, coming together. It is so rare in chess that we have team events. So to have like a team event on this scale, for these players to come and represent that their corporation, I think is a fantastic thing to see. I would love to see this. I mean, for me growing up, it's kind of reminiscent or reminds me of the US Chess League back back in the day, where you would see some of these players just really stand out and represent their state. So the NACCL is the North America Corporate Chess League. It is a bit of a mouthful, but hey, the games are good enough that they get to have a long name. The event is pretty much organized by the Charlotte Chess Center, but sponsored by chess.com. And so great to see it all coming together. So Yuri Vovovsky, he has played his first move, e4. Bellis is still showing as not online. Hopefully, no mistake there. Now, these players do have to check in. So very unlikely that we see Bellos just be a no-show in this game, because he essentially would have had to say, yes, I'm here, I'm ready to play. And more likely some sort of connection issue or issue with, since the top 10 boards do have to be on Zoom, maybe there's some Zoom issue. But we should see takeoff pretty soon here. Let me check on the other boards. Stuff is happening. Okay, so yeah, Belos is just late. Um, that's a very interesting line. Let's go here first, and likely we should see some stuff happening on board one soon. But knight a3 and bishop takes a3. Now he's pausing. He had to have been thinking about queen a4, which he didn't play. I'm a bit torn on it. But yeah, I mean, queen a4 and then take, not doubling the pawns looks interesting. Maybe he's saying the benefit is that he gets bishop b2 in. Miles plays chess. Thank you so much for the raid. Raiders, welcome in. Hope you had a fantastic stream. Big shout out there. Um, Chess lover, you play knight a3. Okay, so if they take, is this theory or queen a4? Like, is this correct? Because I'm torn. I see the benefits of playing pawn takes where we can just really open up the bishop and focus the pressure here, as well as if the defense b5, now we have two a pawns, which actually isn't the worst. But at the same time, that queen a4, queen takes a3, not ruining our pawns. I mean, it's tempting. Yeah, b takes a3 is main. Okay. Okay, so this is tempting, but not quite worth it. We want the more open and active position. Kind of interesting to see both play. This is mainline, but both players seem to be out of prep very quickly. So I wonder. I mean, Baradze was still playing quickly with Bishop a3, which may have taken Griffith out of prep, and then maybe Bishop takes a3 is just him trying to play fast. It is a very tricky time control. This 10-2 is just it's absolute monstrous in the sense that you get about one or two like good things throughout the game, and then you're low on time already. Like you don't get a ton of thinking time, even though compared to 3-2, it feels like you should have it. You got to keep a good pace. Time pressure makes fools out of us all, and both players seem to be conscious of this. Let's go check in on the other boards. Hopefully, Belos has made it here. Here we have a French. Now, I am far from a French expert, but at a glance, I feel like this is good for whites. Okay, that's once again in my limited French knowledge. I guess the concession is a3, so c4 only happens once a3 is there, so b3 is not able to break this down as much. Move that, I find this g3 to be very interesting. Just a very slow, patient, uh, essentially feels like white here is in no rush. He's just doing his thing. Not too worried about what's happening on the queen side. Just he'll get there. You know, the little pawn that could is what the H pawn is right now. Um, yeah, I expect kind of slow play from this game. Maybe I could be wrong. Like I could see a world where f6 soon happens and really spices up this position. But other than that, I mean, if f6 doesn't happen, it's going to be slower. And h6, bit of an indicator that this might be this might be slower because h6, f6 feels a bit strange. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what to expect from this game. So I'll have to keep an eye on it, but let's go check in on board one. Hopefully Belos is here. And yes, Belos was 3 minutes late to the game. That is a huge amount of time to be late when all you have is 10 minutes. But in all fairness, Belos seems a bit more comfortable with the faster pace. He quite often is putting that time pressure on his opponent playing quickly anyways. So, if anyone's gonna make this work, I would expect it to be him. What kind of Sicilian are we? Oh, E4, C4. Okay, so that's how we got here. And a very quick B5. Now, as someone who is biased by Sicilian structures, as a Sicilian player myself, I like what's going on for Belos, this A6, B5 quickly. I am a fan of. Now, it gets a little bit trickier as you get to this point of the game, and I'll be interested to see how Belos handles it. Because you have these options of responding with your own sort of E5, C5 setup, keeping it a bit more contained. But then you have a lot of pawn capture options at different moments. Now, he takes E4. That's very interesting. So he strongly is going to be relying on this pressure down the B file. It does make a little bit more sense with A3 already played because securing this B pawn is a bit more difficult. B4 right now, it looks like that pawn's just dropping, and B3 no longer has the support of a pawn on A2. So B takes C4. Normally, I wouldn't commit to that capture so soon, but I see the reasoning behind it. Now, here, so this is avoiding bishop g4. Uh, Interesting. I'm not sure how I fully feel about h3 because I'm not sure I'm not sure I'd be that bothered by it. Like bishop g4, h3, take, knight takes, we're still covering d4. Yeah, knight's gonna land on d5. I do like this though, bishop g5 and looking to plant the knight on d5. If you're looking to view the games yourself, the best way, so this is a link to the website. Just go to the pairings and it has live, and you click on those to pull up the individual games, and you can spectate them. 94, 95. The ever going challenge of who takes when and what pawn is being, what are we taking back with? Somewhere I'm liking this. As much as I wasn't sure about H3, I am wondering if Bellows should have played H6 first to try and contend against this knight D5 a bit more. Because this knight feels quite nice. Yes, B4 is happening. And if you take it, I mean, it feels like you're just behind, right? Like you're going to get a very similar capture that your opponent got, but he's already done his capture while you're still two moves away. Oh, hey, Chess Lover, thank you so much for the subscription. Much appreciations. So actually, I gotta say this as I said, Sicilian bias aside, I actually gotta give this to Volvovsky. I think his position is preferable. Preferable. Not it's not that simple. It's not that simple. Still some things to figure out and kind of the next step, but I like it. So let's go check in on boards 2 and 3. We'll have to keep a close eye on this one, as it is board 1. But good time to switch. What happened here? Oh my goodness. Oh, Green Glade with the gift sub. Thank you. On my end, I could only see that the sub happened. So, Green Glade, thank you so much. What the? Wait, what? Why are the pawns just that's too so many pawns are being taken. White was down a pawn, but now is up a pawn. Is this just opening tragedy for Griffith here? I mean, having to play g6 and having to defend against this diagonal. Yeah, I'm willing to say this is opening tragedy. Rookie 5, I want to just take that, but maybe, I don't know. What else are we playing? Knight f3 first is definitely an option. what Bradze, I think has to already be winning this. I mean, Griffith has this little bit of pressure on E2, but other than that is really lacking in his own offensive ideas. So Baradze with this and some pressure here and a rook that's hanging definitely is in the driver's seat. I don't see the reason for not playing knight f3. But there's some serious hesitancy, so I mean Baradze could be confirming. Am I spacing something? We're attacking a rook, we're attacking a rook. No, he plays knight f3. Okay, we're gonna find out. Griffith, this is his time to show, and I am absolutely willing to listen. I mean, instinctively, all I'm thinking is you kind of play rook takes e2, and rook takes e2 doesn't even make sense because rook takes, king takes, and then moving the rook, we still run into bishop takes d7. Yeah, he just drops the rook back. Opening disaster for Griffith. Now, kind of sneaky, that bishop currently is lacking squares, so maybe not over. There's also some sort of knight a4. Okay, hold on. Knight goes back to g4. That's amazingly ridiculous. Of course, don't go here attacking the rook. We want to leave this diagonal open. Knight g5 is a very nice, peculiar, but funny move. Why not knight e5? Where? Knight e5, like knight e5 back. Because it's all about this bishop, and he's trying to create the threat against the rook on e6 so that this bishop actually does have space. If you're asking, no, I'm not sure because yeah, 95. I mean 95 he just picks up this bishop. So this with the threat against the rook is the more aggressive one. This is spilling absolute disaster for Griffith. So while I do want to see how this plays out, I think we should go check in on boards 3 and 1 just to see what is happening. This game has developed massively, and I want to say someone has to be losing. I struggle to believe that this game's ending in a draw. Although, could there be any exchanges? Knight takes, rook takes. Looks very dangerous for white. Queen e5 doesn't happen. I mean, you could try something like take queen e5 and hoping you just yes, you lose this pawn, but you have enough activity to make it work. That's actually not the craziest thing. Unless it's some point like a well-timed knight takes g4 could ruin your day. Maybe fine, but very tricky. So not going for that, putting pressure there. Now my gut reaction was definitely expecting to see knight e4. That's just such a beautiful outpost, and we would create a threat against e5. Is there a reason why not? What is white doing after knight e4? Now Krasnov, if I'm not mistaken, Stuart Copen, who before the half point bye of this round only had one draw, and I want to say that was against Krasnov. Knight takes e4. Whoa, my suggestion of knight e4 just very tame. Wait, stuff has happened. Hold on. I heard Thought I heard the sound of a result. Okay, we do see the resignation. Knight e4. Nasty way to end it if knight takes e4. Checkmate. But we also have a funny kind of fork. Uh, how often can you fork a knight with a knight? That is a rare occurrence. But Baradze gets it done. Griffith, very sad to see, just really feels like opening did not go his way. Knight takes g4, knight f4, very strong idea, and the simple h5, pin it and win it. It is a saying for a reason, and Roland Fang, what a move. I'm happy just to plant my knight there, but he just wants to destroy his opponent. And is I mean it's good. Like this is completely winning up the exchange and a pawn. The this knight maybe it would be a question if this knight was supported on e5. I would expect a little bit of counterplay, but with this knight a bit awkward on b4. Fortunately, I think this game is over. Tico, thank you for the follow. So let's go back to board one. I think we'll stay with this game as that third board I do expect to finish quite soon. Bellows. Okay, so let's do a quick how this developed. We won't go back all the way, but some trades and endgame. Now going for a quick d6, d7. I mean, Volvovsky, let's be real. He shouldn't be worse here. Like I have to imagine at best it's equal, but Bellows has the pawn that I think is a little bit easier to attack. But I'm really this d6 wondering, could we have gotten away with trying to take here rather than pushing this pawn? Maybe being a bit more patient. Okay, he didn't want to take because rook b8. I guess that's why he plays d6 though, because rook b8 for the trade was potentially happening either way. So he does target this f7 pawn. Bellows, very patient, not going to play f6. He wants to keep that pawn there, even though it's a bit more of a target. Keep that pawn there to be more solid. Griffith didn't know the theory. G6 is insane. Rook e8 was the only move played in that position. Yeah, so I'm feeling like this knight a3 was a surprise for Griffith. That is definitely becoming my feeling. Now Bellows is a fighter. I don't expect him to just draw here. Yeah. Bishop f6. Like I don't even know if it matters if he is a little bit worse. Bellows is just he is that player that will fight. Oh wait. Maybe as I'm saying that was rook f3 third would have been the third repetition. Okay, so he played bishop f6, but yeah, let's check. So rook f3 once, rook f3 twice. It could have been. Actually, just kidding. Volvovsky is the one pushing. Bellows interrupted repetition, briefly playing bishop f6, but Volvovsky, maybe inspired by his opponent, says, you know what? You're right. Let's go for it. Yeah, it's a Cook variation. Interesting. 15 games rookie. That's tough. It's really goes back to this time control. Griffith, I feel like, was trying to play a little bit faster, very understandably so, to not get in time pressure down the road, but suddenly it screams when you in retrospect it screams, yeah, you should have just taken the time in the opening to not get such a bad position. Much tougher call during the game. Pushing against GM is the way. I mean, you have to respect it. And I mean, keep in mind, Volvovsky here is on 9 points while Bellows is on 10 points. So for the individual prizes, yeah, Volvovsky, despite being the lower rated player, should be the one pushing. He definitely is more incentivized here to try and push for a win for the individual standings. And doing a good job. I mean, that H5 pawn looking a little tender. Okay, it's still opposite colored bishops, so king e4, very sneaky. If rook g5, king d3, and if you take my h5 pawn, I take your c4 pawn. The king is an absolute weapon. Volvovsky's bishop feeling better right now because it has a target, but Bellows using that king very effectively. Now the pawn is taken. Hold on. Bishop f7. He's going after the a pawn. Hold on. Ooh, I don't know how I feel about this because now this pawn is. Wait, this may be a problem. With rook still on the board, this is not so clear. Belos might be in trouble here. Oh, I don't know what to make of it. It's still I feel that it should still be equal, but I mean Volvovsky's idea is so simple. Push the pass pawn. That's so simple. Okay, easier said than done. Don't push. Don't push right now though. Don't push right now. Don't cry wolf. How you doing? Good to see you. Bishop e5. It is going to be a huge balance for both these players between time spending and obviously. Oh wait, rook f4. Wait, I don't like this. Wait. This could be a turnaround because even if he wins this bishop now, this pass pawn itself could be very dangerous. Ooh, dun dun dun. Yeah, Cheslaw. I mean that knight a3 line after after seeing it in action, definitely catching my attention. I don't know what to make of this. It still should be a draw, just for the record, but it's not so clear anymore. Even though Volvovsky has what I would say is the better pass pawn, Belos now has two. And yes, two is better than one. More dangerous, but not so easy. I like this move. Bishop f7, slowing down the push of the pawns. But it's hard now to break through. GM is a GM for a reason, turns out. There's a lot of reality. Oh, I don't like this move. King b4. The bishop covers the squares. King b4, just protect your pawns. What's the oh maybe rook c2. Oh, he blunders the rook! Bella's pausing. Does he realize it? He does. What is happening? Oh my goodness, a rook blunder, but it wasn't captured. Oh, what? Both players just checked out about this bishop on h8. It's a defender. But this is what makes bishop so dangerous in endgames. Now, what is happening? He takes the bishop. He will have to sack his rook now for the pawn. Is this going to end in a draw after all of that? This went from what could have been. Ooh, Okay, he's not sacking the rook yet, but as soon as this rook moves, I do expect rook takes h7. What is he doing? What is he thinking? I moved the rook. Your time. Your time. What? 6 seconds. What? Wait, he's losing now, isn't? No, he throw. What is happening? I don't know. I don't. Guys, I don't know. I don't know. No. If he's smart, he goes after this pawn. No, not now. That's the wrong time. No. If the king goes to c1, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. You go after that pawn once the king is on c1. Otherwise, you go c8. Now we have king and rook endgame. Belos is gonna win this. Yeah. Uh, It's not so easy though. If Volkovsky defends this correctly, although his king feels a little too far pushed, he may have messed up the defense already, and there it is. Queen h7, he's gonna skewer the king and rook. Oh, no way. This is why this event is so good. You just never know. You never know. Again, you think 10-2 is so much time, but players feel it when they transition to having time to think to being low on time. Big mistakes happen. It is actually rare that a rook is not hung, and at some point during these games. But I will say it drives the point further when a rook is hung and still not taken. Oh, Bello sneaks it out. And yes, while he played a very good game, I think sneaks it out is the only appropriate term for this. So I'm going to switch over quickly. You guys can take a look at the pairings and results. Um, and should actually have the next round pairings up here. Just want to take a quick look. So that means Symmetra 2 victories, 3 victories on their top 3 boards. Symmetra still looking to maintain that lead that they have. Now, we do see next round pairings. So, yeah, it does appear Stuart Copen is taking full buys. Since we don't see him in this round as well, it likely means he is taking all buys for these games, but that will still leave him at 13 points. So, Bellows actually the only player is his teammates on Symmetra that can catch him currently, but this will be a big game. Bellows and Hilby. Hopefully, Bellows goes in with full time. As a reminder, that last game, he did show up a few minutes late or connection issues, who knows. So had a bit of a time disadvantage and a big part, I think, of what led to that absolute hectic ending. Oh, that's just wild. So Craig Hilby also participated last season and did very well. So very, very dangerous player. And one Bellows with his heart, I assume racing will have to be careful of. Francisco Guadalupe on board 2 against Baradze, who we saw with a fantastic game against Griffith. And then Roland Fang, who also had a fantastic game on board 3 against Matthias Shundi. Now, in all honesty, the board 3 is probably one of the biggest deals this round, as both Andoril and Jane Street want to be in that top and make it to the week 7 playoff. So, Symmetra at this point, I think they're very, very likely to be in the finals. They were already ahead going into this round. Looks like they're in good shape for this week as well. So I expect them to be in that week 7. But for Andoril and Jane Street and Capital One, Craig Hilby playing for Capital One, this round is I mean it is getting very close to do or die. Bellows once again showing as offline. Uh, the other games have not started yet, so not quite late, but hopefully this isn't Belos's new strategy to give his opponents 3 minutes to start with. Um, we'll be right back after this commercial break. He's gonna be late again. I I mean, the other thing could be that he's having issues joining the Zoom call. Um, I don't know. It's such a simple thing, but when you only have 10 minutes, it's so surprising that I'm at a loss for words. But with that, let's go to boards 2 and 3, see what openings are happening there. Francisco here playing very quickly out of the opening. Baradze taking his first pause after knight takes c6. And all seems pretty normal for a Taimanov. I mean, a little bit of a different direction than these. There's definitely a lot of theory, a lot of different lines here. But I mean, from my perspective, this seems pretty normal outside of the fact that why can we not take this pawn? Okay, because of queen d4. Okay, very simple fork. Although, oh, hold on now, hold on. Now it's a different story. Hold on, there's no queen d4. Queen d4 would hit this pawn and knight, but the knight jumps back protecting. I'm a greedy guy. I say we take this. Look, it's not my game. I don't face the consequences. Definitely we play knight takes e4. Take first, think later. Okay, easier said than done. I think the scariest part about playing knight takes e4 is Francisco is playing this very quickly. So if you're a trusting person, which I am to a point, then understandable to be afraid of taking. The other move, I would really think about d6 actually, because somewhere if white's able to clamp down on this position with c5, that's it's not my favorite. He will dominate those dark squares. Okay, so he goes for c5, which yeah, now that I see it, likely makes more sense. Nothing tactical, right? I mean, there's some definite things to consider with e5 and bishop f3 and knight b6 somewhere. Nothing too crazy stands out, but I'm not gonna lie, e5 here feels like it should be a good move just to start opening up the bishops. Okay, he goes queen c2, the more reasonable one, and this is turning into a game that likely both sides should have some chances. So let's go to board 3 and see what's happening there. Grunfeld, knight takes c4 has already happened though. Roland, what is this? Hold on. As someone that plays the Grunfeld, something smells to me. This looks fantastic for white. Does knight c4, but your e7 pawn. Knight c4 is a very common idea in these positions when white's maybe is slower, shall we say, to castling. But you're not really threatening anything. Just gonna get just a really nice knight. Blundered knight takes c4 does feel quite likely, especially with the pause. It's something I think is easy to forget. Now, in general, this type of setup for black, I'm not a fan of. I try to do everything in my power when I play these positions as black to avoid it because there are so many tricks like this. Now, I don't fully understand the pause here. I guess thinking about queen takes c6 or queen takes c7, that actually feels very fair. Queen takes c6, also a very tempting move. I don't prefer it as much. Queen takes c7 if I'm not missing. Oh, well, that's poor timing on my part. I was gonna say I prefer queen takes e7. It looks easier to me. Queen takes c6. Okay, rook c8. The thing I didn't like about this is at some point it feels like your king's gonna end up in the center with queen still on the board, which typically you do want to be careful of. Now the pause. Matthias is spending so much time here. It's tough. I understand it. You do want to figure out what's going on in this position, but I think you kind of have to accept at some point that things have gone wrong. and I at least need some time. I think like a quick knight d3, queen c7 would benefit him very well. Is white better? Yes, but we're looking to play e5, rook d8. It's not so simple. Queen c6. I'm gonna go back to this really quickly. Maybe he just didn't like because there's still knight d3 and then okay, some complications there. Knight d3, if you go king d2, then some trade, knight takes f2. Maybe knight takes f2 somewhere is a problem. But he doesn't have to trade. He could have dropped back queen a5 and figured, or at least it appears that he figured his chances with the queen on the light squares is better. Lenore, you drew an IM and OTB last Saturday. One of those creamy three Grunfeld sacrificed a piece, ended up 3 pawns up. Wow, and queen only endgame, but repeated because you had 3 seconds. No. Okay, time pressure makes fools of us all. Let's go back to board one. Yes, moves have happened. Bellows, spend a minute and then 30 seconds. Yeah, it's definitely feels like Bellows might be having some issues getting set up or getting into the game or something. I mean, he could be a very generous guy and deciding that he wants to give his opponent this time advantage, but I highly doubt it, especially against someone as strong as Craig. I mean, well, strong as all of the opponents he's playing, honestly. Uh, I feel like things have gone well for him thus far. This potential target D5 should be very nice. I mean, eventually this bishop opens up. He likely will look for the right moment to take. It's a bit funny. Normally, when you play G3, you want to avoid playing E3. Excuse me, but I gotta say, something like take E3 feels very interesting just to try and prevent D4. And then we've opened up the D file. Now, Rook D1, still, we should expect he's looking for a well-timed D takes C5. Just a brief moment. C4 feels very wrong, but is it? Likely, yes. Knight e5, we still get that pressure against d5, but knight takes e4 as an option has opened up. Queen a4, oh, well, we're going to find out. Uh, Instinctively, I don't know about this move. Okay, he goes b3 instead of my knight e5 idea. Um, but the annoying part right now is this rook's being tied down. Okay, it's not that simple, as there is some prospect of after queen takes a7 of the queen getting trapped. But currently, I don't think that's real. I think the queen escapes or prepares itself in a way that between the knights and everything, it should be fine on a7. So you want to play a move like rook c8, but I don't know if you can allow queen takes a7. Now, rook c8 still wouldn't solve your issues because then knight e5 with a lot of the similar ideas that I was talking about. So likely he just has to take, and Velos has options. He can leave his queen there with the pressure on a7, or honestly, queen takes b3 and just adding that little extra pressure to d5. This feels like advantage Velos. I want to keep an eye on the other games, but I want to stay here for this moment because this feels very critical how Hilby responds to this b3 move. And yes, he very likely has to respond, as that is a hanging pawn. So he does take b3. Okay, Bellows' decision moment does play queen takes b3. I don't think he could have gone wrong with this decision. But queen takes b3 overall, I think, is the simpler option. Now, is it so simple? I would say Bellows is better, but maybe not so simple because bishops are still bishops and they cover a lot of squares. And I don't know if it's so clear how you're jumping in. Knight e5 could be met with some bishop d6, very quick pressure. Bishop h3. I actually really like this move. Rook, where are you going? You go to light squares, then knight e5. You go to c7, knight b5. Feels like a very strong, annoying move. Bishop h3. I love this idea. Simple threat against the rook on c8, but annoying. Annoying enough that I'd even slightly consider leaving it there and trying to play on the light squares, but I think Belos is too solid to do any of that. So where are we putting the rook? Rook c7, but knight b5. Okay, trade feels forced. Knight c7 and knight takes a7, both annoying. Rook c7 as well could be a problem. We could play bishop d6, open up the threat against e2, and cover the c7 square. Yep, that is what is played. Okay, simple e3. I don't see any follow-up to takes. Oh, wait, there's an interesting idea here. Take something like bishop c8. I feel like that might be too much, but it's kind of a funny one because he cannot capture because of the pin. Maybe you can do that same thing, but takes knight c8 where we actually do have threats, although he's holding with bishop c7. Yeah, I don't know if it's there. I mean, some tempting ideas, but I am leaning towards either you play a3 or you just take and play knight e5 and say slight advantage. Again, for in the long run, this d5 pawn being isolated is uh, it's a weakness. It is a target for white. Okay, he goes e3, bishop e8, no a6. So he'll be if you're not going to take my bishop, he wants to keep the bishop. Now, I guess we don't have to rush with a6. Likely, let's go check on the other games. I'm getting fully invested in this game, but a lot has happened in those other two, so let's go check in. We'll come back. Yeah, this went from I thought there could be some fireworks pretty early on, but hey, we turned in right as the fireworks are happening. F5 on the board. F6 would be a huge pain. I do not want to put my bishop back on F8, so he takes, which feels quite beneficial. Let's open up that bishop. Both sides attacking to a degree. Both sides have some fights. I lean towards white, knight f4. Okay, some ideas with knight d5, some ideas with sacrificing. Actually, big idea. F takes g6, knight takes g6 looks like game over if he gets the chance to play it. Because after queen takes g6, how in the world are you defending queen h7? I say you're not. Um, wait a second. Wait a second. Take, knight takes. Oh, bishop e4. Bishop e4 as a defense. That's what he opens up with knight d4. Rodze. Sharp. Okay, let's do a quick look at board three. I think we're gonna stay here. As much changed. Okay, Roland is still up the pawn. It's looking very good. It's the queen's got traded. Oh, the queen's got traded. Yeah, queen c6. Queen's off the board. This feels like Roland on his way to victory. But let's keep with this game. This is the game. If we do not have this knight takes g6 right now, we could be boring and just try and stop that bishop with knight d5. I don't particularly like that. It could, I mean, it probably makes more sense if you want to play something like knight d5, play f6 first. This bishop likely drops back, and then knight d5. Actually, wait, what's wrong with f6? Because I'm just trying to take here and say pawn. So f6. He takes. Do we not have a good discovery? Knight H. No, we don't because Knight H5. No, Knight H5. Uh, doesn't quite work. Okay. It's interesting, but Knight F6 take. We I mean we don't get two moves. We don't get to play Rook takes F6 and Bishop takes D4. So yeah, F6 makes me wonder if Francisco should have played F6 just to prevent this Knight D4 from ever landing there. Prepare, as tempting as the attacking ideas were, prepare the defense first. Now, this is still expected. No knight takes G6 yet, as far as I've calculated. Could we do it with bishop takes A4? I don't know. It's kind of annoying. He just plays rook E1. Very simple. It's surprising. This looks like black should just be absolutely toast, but somehow it just, with one defending idea, bishop E4, it is that good that it's stopping any fun. Okay. Let's do a quick check on games 3 and 1. Start first with 3. Okay. Nothing too crazy. Uh um what? We have big tactics and somebody's winning. I think it's Bellows. Wait, what if you're not checkmating me, then you're losing. What? Wait, what happened? So he took, okay, so he A5 and Hilby placed his eggs in the rook takes C3 basket, ignoring that pawn. Oh, rook C1, do not take. Whatever you do not take. Play bishop F1. The bishop is defended through an X-ray. Hilby, of course, is going to try. Is it over though? I'm unfortunately for Hilby thinking yes. Because this comes with check. If the king was on H7, we have a very different game on our hands. Because he has some of his own threats with Queen F3. But since this happens with check and then Queen takes D5 would open up not just one, but two queens to the defense, feels very unlikely. Bishop G1, I mean, you have to try. You have to try. Queen with check. It's got to be the first move. Bellows pausing to think. If we take this, do we believe it's repetition? I would believe it. It looks like repetition, especially because this bishop is pinned. He isn't looking to check right away. Do not take the rook. He doesn't have to take back. But what's wrong with just here? Bishop D3. Yeah, that's what I was. And queen takes D5. Why do we not take this rook? Oh, because potential. What is happening? Bellows is fine? Could Hilby get into rook and bishop at least? Like queen, he can't play queen takes b1. So queen takes b1. Yeah, it's at least play. They're at least playing. Likely winning for Bellows with this passed pawn. Oh, and the bishop's trapped. Hold on. Oh, g6, you just play king g2 and this bishop cries. Wait, rook e1? Hold on. Oh, I cannot believe this is not over. I'm not even saying for one side. Just the fact that there was a queen on the board, checkmate threats were happening, and somehow we're getting into an end game that these sides are going to, like both players are gonna play is ridiculous. H4, sneaky. Bishop, he's gonna try and keep it. I think he can. Abello should be winning this. It feels very likely. Like King F3 now. No, because then Rook D3. How do we defend this pawn? Queen F4? But then we can't play King F3. Oh my gosh. So he goes Queen G3. He's just keeping this bishop trapped for now, but crazy thing is, where does he make progress? Queen F3? But Queen F3 we go back. Creative move, King H8. I don't know if it's any good, but it sure is creative. H4, like how is this chess? Weird. Bishop on G1. And okay, Bellows could transition from trying to trap this bishop to just trying to push these pawns. Um, doesn't go for it. Queen G3. I don't know what was wrong with, but oh, takes. Bishop takes E3. If you try and push that pawn, bishop takes. Give me the bishop and a fortress. Oh, fortress. The fortress potential has been set with these three pawns connected. This is not over. Queen F4. Did he have a trick? Just the pin? Just the pin. The pin and a push. But now Bishop is ready. He cannot push that pawn. That should be a draw. Sack, plant the rook on F5. Black should be a fortress. It's maybe not the easiest. Interestingly enough, if this pawn's not on H5, that is guaranteed a fortress because the rook can move back and forth. With the pawn on H5, there could be some ability to basically put black in Zugzwang. I highly doubt it, but would be the one idea. Okay, quick check on board two. Okay, Baradze, I don't even know. That was why do we even do that check? Ooh, wait, the rook's not getting to F5. Wait, King G5, he's gonna checkmate him. Wait, King H7? Only move. King H7. You cannot let they you gotta move. Wait, King H6, it's over. No. No, you had to play King H7. Oh my goodness. Bellows finally pushes the pawn, but only when the king is active. Okay, we'll come back to this. Let's go to this game. Big stuff is happening. Could it be repetition? I don't know. Both sides have passed pawns. Brazil goes for it. King A3. Come on. You know you want to. It's probably a mistake, but you know you want to. Oh wait, his bishop's saying. Yeah, that's probably. Maybe it's interesting though. Rook D1. Okay, never mind. I mean, it's not my pieces, King A3 easy. But very reasonable draw. At this point, we did miss what happened earlier, but huge back and forth with pawns and an opposite colored bishop endgame. Looks at a glance like both players played very well. What? Oh, just some wild chess. Just to confirm, yes, Roland Fang did win. So let me take a look. Okay, for the most part, looks like the games are finished. There's one game going, but I believe once I find whatever game this is, likely it will be done. Yeah, that checks out. Okay, so the results of this round. We can see here. Oh, Belos. I mean, if he's not sweating at least a little bit from both these victories, I that guy must be cool as a cucumber. Crazy chess down to the absolute wire, but I mean, he's been resourceful. He is getting it done. Baradze and Guadalupe draw. Roland Fang, r- just unfortunate for Matthias Shundi. It looks like the opening was a bit of a disaster, and he was on the back foot very early on with that knight takes c4. We do see Yannick for Symmetra does win. So Symmetra looking to stay on top. Matthias for Jane Street did lose, but on a positive note for Jane Street, their boards 2 and 3 got the W. Volvovsky, who we saw with a very close game against Belos, drew his round. Griffith strikes back with a victory. So very good result for him. And we should have the next round pairings up. Yes. So Bellows and Richard Chen, who I mentioned earlier, Databricks we did not see in the top five, but when you have someone like Richard Chen holding fast, they definitely have some chances. So for the individual prize and team prize, he's definitely going to want to slow Bellows, excuse me, down. Samir for Ernst and Young. Ernst and Young was one of those in the very tight race around that fifth place. So this is actually a huge game for both players and their teams. And then it is actually one of those cases where, hold on, let me check something. Okay, I'm not completely crazy. So Yannick Cambrus and Baradze for Symmetra are both taking half point buys this round. So they were able to play a couple of games, but I guess they have to head off somewhere. It doesn't look like it's that crazy for them. I see last week they did the same and took the half point buys at the end, so we're not going to see them at the top here because of those buys. Um, which honestly, without them there, almost makes all these pairings much more important for these players to try and jump ahead and catch up and pass them. Let me refresh. We don't quite have the games created yet to pull up the live boards, but any second. And yes, there we have it. Okay, let me pull these up. It is worth noting with those two half point buys, the team that we do have two players on boards two or between our two players from a team on the top three boards is Anderl. So Anderl really showing up, looking to score big this round. Now, the biggest question on on my mind going into this final game of week 5 is will Bellows be on time? It looks like it. Yeah, we're seeing full bars, full connection. So we should have a Bellows at maximum strength this round. But hey, it's not too late yet. It's not too late yet for him to once again give a minute. And just a quick check. Oh, this game is already going. Hold on. So okay, games are starting. Bellows playing c4 and e5. Once again, pausing very early on. I mean, I can't knock it. He's winning the games. Okay, a bit of a reverse Sicilian here. Will we see d5? Knight f3 though. Wait, knight f3 this early is very interesting. Opening up the door for e4. Okay, I looks like you're not keeping that pawn, but I definitely am more used to seeing knight c3 because knight c3 then bishop b4, and that is a line. Now, there are other lines black can play, but the pause makes me think that Richard was probably planning something like bishop b4 and is thrown off. Knight f3 has slightly taken that away. Honestly, I'd be I'd be a bit taken aback by this dude. Knight f3, very interesting move. Let's do our quick checks on board 2 and 3, as he's already spending some time thinking here. A semi-Slav, but with b3, bishop b2 on our board 2 here. Okay. E5 should be the big consideration, but probably not yet with d5, so I would expect to see something like b6, bishop b7. On board 3, we already briefly glanced this, but Roy Lopez and Griffith looks somewhat comfortable. I mean, this feels at least like a slight advantage for white, but symmetry. A lot of symmetry between the sides here. So Griffith, yeah, slight advantage. He's white, he's up time. But I have to expect that it is balanced. It doesn't feel too dangerous for either side quite yet. Interesting. Knight b8. Not the strangest maneuver by any means in these Roy Lopez positions. Likely looking to play c6 and knight d7, capturing back with the knight given the opportunity. Also, in that case, knight d7 first. Probably just ignore this and go c4. Try to some point get some pressure here. Or c4, c6, take, and then d4. I find to be very interesting. You'd still need to do some calculating with the capture and black pushing like c5, but oh, okay. Or the c3. Also looking for d4, I imagine at some point. Actually, a4. A4 is also opened up as an option. But currently it's a bit confusing because Griffith has this bishop. You would think he's looking to play on the king side, but I don't know. I get this feeling because he has the pawn breaks over here. Yeah, that we see it. There we see a queen. The queen side is the place where we will see the action. I do want to go back to board 1, but I'd expect some very interesting things from what is this? Oh, bishop c5. Okay. Uh, advantage? Is this, what is this? Bellows playing very quickly. Still in prep or still trying to psych out his opponent is yet to be determined. But Richard Chen, I mean, he's going for it. He takes the pawn. He's responding d5. He's not backing down. If I'm going down swinging. And at a glance, this feels okay. I mean, it feels a bit crazy to say with the king still in the center and chances for it to open. But I don't hate this for black, although take... Okay, so take e takes d5, castle, knight c3, maybe black's a little too slow. He plays knight c3 first, which makes sense. He preserves the option of playing e5 and then trying to take on d5 there, but after castling, I don't know if you really want much different because castle e5, maybe knight g4 is something you can get away with, or white doesn't have full time. I'm not believing it though, because there's also rook f4 in response, creating a secondary threat. I don't know about this. Yeah, e5 I'm actually quite liking. As a knight g4, just well, can we knight e3? Take, queen. Actually, knight e3. The problem with rook f4 there is it runs into knight takes g2, which is the part of that I'm forgetting. Knight takes g2 with a threat against the rook. So he plays b3 first. Ah, b3, very nice move. This knight's going to be forced. Maybe it goes d6 though. Can he get away with it? Is it worth it? D6, e5, knight e4, take. No, probably this knight to e4. Let's not put a pawn next to our king. So this knight to e4, take, king takes, queen takes. Yeah, two bishops. Maybe there was just e5 rook e2 instead. E5 rook e2 feels very reasonable, but I'm not sure there's anything wrong with this b3 that I'm glancing. E5 feels quite good if knight d6, and if the knight has to drop back. Happy day. Yeah, happy day. Although, wait, hold on. Now it's defended. Ah, third game of the day. I can tell that I'm winding down a little bit. Can't go here. Knight g4 is a bit risky because now you get real pressure. Knight h7, feeling like a likely candidate. Oh, but there's this idea. Bishop a3, rook e8, something with f7, but we do have bishop e6 to defend. How is that? So queen f3, bishop e6, everything's fine? Yes? Santo and Alan, hello, by the way. The time spending is becoming very concerning. Even if Richard Chen sneaks out of this, he is going to have a rough task of being down 5 minutes on the clock. Not sure what he's spending so much time on. It seems like a pretty clear. Am I spacing something with knight h7? Because this loses the d5 pawn. This has some rook f4 h3. This loses the d5 pawn. This gets the rook trapped. Knight h7 feels like the only move. He's still spending time. Okay, he's in a long thing. Let's do it. Let's do just a quick glance. I'm going to do a quick glance at these other two games. Whoa, I was going to say this just feels like a positional battle, but f4? What? F4? Wait, take pawn? Hello? I'm greedy. What's happening? He spent a full minute to play f4. At a glance, I am not a fan of this. 0%. That is a backwards pawn. That is so dangerous. Instead of f4, I would have rather have played something like knight e2, very simple, or knight b5. Okay, he's gonna try to just hold this. Crazy. I expect to see big things from there. Okay, maneuvering. Not much has changed here. Maneuvering, some pressure, some tension. So I think, yes, we keep with this game. Okay, bishop g4 first was played. And now knight d7. But why can't I take? Why can't I take pandas? 2550 blitz today. Congrats. That's very, very good. Because there's some takes and pins, but with the knight I can jump back and it's not pinned, and with the bishop I can take here. But he could no. What? What? Is he? Oh, king takes queen h7? Oh gosh. Wait. Queen h7, rook h8, rook f3, knight f6. I'm not sure that's as clear to me as as I would like it to be if I were the one giving up a rook. He's got to move though. 2 minutes and your king is about to be very exposed. Knight takes, bishop e6. Something defensive like that. Definitely possible. Okay, I think you have to do this. This is happening. And we need to remove the piece that would be pinning it. After rook h8, rook f1, knight f6, rook takes f6. We can also play queen takes. What else would we play? Rook f1 is a real problem. Could try to run the king this way, but finding a place for the knight is a problem. Is just well, like, what do you do? Knight f8 check. No, I don't even think you can run that way because queen takes g7 at some point is going to be game over. Can black get away with queen g5? So the idea after, if you tell me the idea is queen g5, rook f1, king e6, I believe you, but oh, yeah, knight takes d5 first. Knight takes d5 first. Yeah, he's dead. It's. I mean, it's. I also wonder about. Oh, but you have this check. Yeah, so I can't simply play h4. Ah. He does play it, queen g5. Okay, we're gonna find out. You could, yeah, rook g. So the idea of queen g5 is very similar to rook g8. The only difference is you're covering g6, which becomes very important, Santo, for putting the king on e6. Queen g6 would be a sad day. He plays rook f1. Wait, after what is he thinking? He has to play king e6. What is he? Why are you spending time? Time is valuable. You gotta go. Okay, h4 possible. H4 is interesting. Trying to open up check king h2 and then just say I'm threatening queen g6. And I'd be half tempted to try take it and run. No way that works, but hey. So he does go h4. I was also wondering if I don't think it worked, but some trying to get some sort of knight e2 and if takes bishop h3, but the queen's still just as good on g4 as it is g5. Queen h5, he's gonna flag. Maybe queen h5 take, rook f8? No, I'm blundering queen e7. Yeah, this is over. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. He takes, he's gonna try. I mean, you have to, right? Put the king on e5. I guess he could be reasonable and try and play knight f6 and then sneak the king back. Queen is protecting g4 now. It is, oh, bishop c1, actually very interesting idea, chess lover. Previously before h4. Queen g4. Okay, he goes knight f6. Material count is only 4 points. That is not a good sign. I think Richard Chen needs to be up 10 points of material here, but oh, yeah, destructive. Queen has to move. You pick up the bishop. The king's still in danger. Crazy. Rook takes f7. Bellows. Bellows, after a wild game, unleashes that nastiness. Phil, thank you so much for the raid. A big shout out. I hope you had a fantastic stream. Yeah, Bellows, I mean, when Bellows gets attacking, like, that's bad things are about to happen to you. Just letting you know. Do not let that guy attack. It's Uh, hey, Phil. Warcraft 3, great to hear it. So this is a league that is going on, the North American Corporate Chess League. These are the top three boards currently. And yeah, make sure to drop those follows. Much appreciation. Um, so he has held on to E3 in this game. There's Rook C6. Okay, he's just moving out of danger. How do we progress? So you have to watch out for the, yeah, again, we're gonna go back to F4. Not a fan, by the way. Still not a fan. Even though he has the last E3, still not a fan. It just feels wrong. Is this the last week? No, this is week 5. So there will be 2 more weeks after this. I unfortunately will not be doing commentary next week, but on a positive note, they should have a fantastic commentator, potentially Gary, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, so week 6 will be the full open week, and then week 7 will be the final knockout rounds. Yeah. Phil, take care. Thank you once again. Okay, so A3, he's keeping it pretty simple. I guess if bishop C5, we're gonna drop back knight D1. I guess you have to. Or wait, can we? No, that's no. Forget forget I said anything. That just feels wrong. Knight takes D5. So wait, that was a free pawn. Oh my goodness. For some reason, it never clicked that that pawn was takeable. I just assumed because he played A3 that it was protected. Hmm. Hmm. Uh, that's awkward. Yeah, Samir, I think he just put himself like this is the kind of move maybe you can get away with in classical just through pure calculation. But in this time control, I think will be considered the game mistake. Just put him in such a tough spot and yeah, one moment. Okay, it's not over. Let's go check in on board 3. Looking not so great for Samir. Ooh, my goodness. What is happening? Okay. Black is currently up a pawn, but one is takeable on A4, which he does do. Uh, it's very rare to see this with both sides alternating isolated pawns. Makes me think that someday F takes E6 is going to happen. But I think this is good for Griffith. I'm really liking this pressure here, as well as something simple like bishop c4 and try and take the pawn. The thing I'm not liking, though, this knight on g3 is bad. It just has nowhere to go. Oh, hold on. Maybe threats. Could things open up for black? Oh, it sounds like we have a result. Yeah. Yep. Bishop takes e3. A very poetic end to this game, considering what happened. Oh, wait, 94? Can we sneak that knight out of the hole of doom it finds itself on G3? We don't have to rush with it, but definitely yeah, move like Queen A5 is strangely tempting because you play Queen A5 trade and then you try and sneak the knight over to C5 and just you basically try and win with subtle pressure. He drops back, Queen C2. Okay, adding the queen to some potential ideas to this side. H4 happens. He doesn't want knight E4, likely because of bishop F5 now. The downside to Queen C2 was that chance for a pin. That's this whole idea of H4. He is a greedy son of a gun. But wait, queen takes G6? Queen takes G6? Hello? His queen c2 shining really well right now. 96, trying to hold. Check. We have options. You can trade everything and take a pawn and say I'm up a pawn. I don't hate that, but okay. Well, no buts anymore. We were we were about to get to the other option when the first option happened, so consider it a success. Don't play queen e7. Queen e7 immediately loses to rook d8. Yeah, rook e8 much better. Knight jumps out. Griffith pushing, but not so easy. This bishop, I mean, pawns on both sides, bishops can do very well uh, because they have such good maneuverability. But trading's still tricky because this knight f5, I mean, take knight f5. He goes for it. He's gonna try. I think we clean up. Just clean up the pawns. Yeah, Griffith keeping it really simple. I'm actually a fan of this. Just take the pawns, have the advantage, nothing crazy. Okay, one very serious idea. I think I would just play g3. Okay, he's gonna start with the check. He has the option. He wants to trade. Smart. I think it is better to keep the queens. Even though you're up to two pawns and likely the endgame is not too difficult to win. Keeping the queen on the board when black's king feels a little bit more exposed makes sense. And as I say that, he offers the queen trade. Well, never mind. I guess queen trade sounds great. Sounds good. Compromise. Uh okay. Now we're just here. Now we're just here to see that trading off five feels better, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, green glade. I guess. He just had to wait until I justified not trading queens to actually trade queens. Okay, I like this rook on f3 placement. Still, you have to figure out exactly where you want this knight. I feel like the one way Griffith doesn't win this is if this knight gets trapped. But f3 I like. Give the knight some space. Okay, I found a second way. Getting checkmated. Like g4, king h3, rook slides into h2. Little awkward conversion so far, but that was a free pawn. That feels like a kind of pre-move f5. Like in his head, he was ready to kick the knight and probably expecting something like h5, and then Griffith moved the knight and he just didn't pause to correct it. Okay, three pawns. This is not gonna go too well, as some might say, a bit dicey. And yeah, there it is. Okay, rook falls, but just the technicality. So we have our top three board. Wait, let me check if this board is still going. Board four is still going. Oh, it's done. Jacob Irvine wins. Wait, here's I was gonna say, wait, one more chance for repetition. But as I say that, uh, Prathik Kendvina Fermetta unfortunately goes down, resigns after the capture happened. Okay, let me check any more games. No, looks like they are all finishing. At least as I'm trying to pull them up, they're finishing. Yeah. So let me just pull up. Let's go to pairings. Well, let me check the one more maybe. Check one more game. Okay, yeah. As as I pull it up, it finishes. That's how it goes. Uh, all right. Let's switch. So our final results. Give it a second for standings to update. Bellows, the destroyer this week. Well, I say destroyer. The last game was monstrous. Sacrificing a rook, sacrificing his opponent's king. Absolute fantastic game from him. Some closer calls, but has to be the MVP of this week. His teammate, Stuart Copen, was not able to play, taking half point buys, but he's still representing Symmetra very strong. And now with those half point buys, it will be Belos and Stuart Copen tied for first at 13 points. Uh, I'm seeing Jane Street had a very good round. Just at a glance, I'm seeing 3 wins for them, which is huge. Um, some other results like Roland Fang getting a win is big for Andoril and Griffith lifting his team. Very, very big win there. Let me see. The standing should be updated, so let's check. Yes. So we see it there. Bellows and Stuakopen at the top. Yeah, I have a guess as to which team is in first, but very interesting to see. While Symmetra is in first, Jane Street, last season's victors, they're getting up there. I see you guys. Roland Fang with a very, very strong week. 3 wins for him as well this week, and David Pang for Jane Street getting 3 wins. So some players just absolutely crushing it. And we'll also point out Sulunke with 3 wins for Meta. So great to see. And the team standings, to the surprise of absolutely no one, with some spectacular chess. Symmetra, 48 points. Fantastic week for them, especially considering Stua Kopen had 3 half-point buys and Cambrith and Baradze had half-point buys. Putting up 9 points this week is very, very good result. Jane Street now in second with 42 and a half and some beautiful 11s for them there. Meta in third place with 40 and a half, which is fantastic to see. Some good success for them, despite no title players being on their team. And Enduro also 40 and a half up there. Let's check to the fifth placement, Ernst and Young. Samir, a bit of a bad last round, but still leading his team and obviously doing very well. So great to see for him and some other fantastic performances from his teammates. And then in fifth, we have, oh, wait, that was fifth. Did I skip over? No, I'm just going through. I was so excited about the top two. But since we're here, let's give IBM some appreciation. 39 and a half, very good result. And hey, Yaz went. Big shout out to him. Not one of the higher rateds, but 10 points. Fantastic. Really good to see. It's one of the best parts about an event like this is having so many players on such a wide rating range and seeing the success that they're able to get for themselves and for their teams. Everybody, this is week 5. Next week will be the big week as it will decide which teams go to the knockout rounds. I am sad that I'm gonna miss it. Uh, for good reasons. I'll be in Vegas at the National Open doing some work there. But do not miss next week. I'm not 100% sure who will be covering it, but if you go to the website, the live commentary is posted, whether it is me, Gary, or whomever. You'll be able to see it there. So, everyone, don't miss it. As all the action shakes out and the knockout teams are decided, hope you all are there to witness it. Thank you so much for being here and watching. Crazy games. If you missed some of the earlier rounds, well, that's just shame on you. It's crazy chess from a rook sacrifice to a rook hanging, and neither side realizing it. The corporate chess league, you never know what to expect, and that's fantastic. So next week, week 6, the big one. Don't miss it. Until then, everybody, you have a fantastic night and take care.